Hey, this is Pat Freeman again here on the network with my buddy Chris Stevenson. How you doing, Chris?
What's going on, Pat?
This week we are going to talk about a controversial subject. Former Liberian President Charles Taylor is on trial in The Hague. We're trying to bring attention to this. What is going on with this trial, Chris?
Well, they had his sentencing some time ago, several weeks ago. Well, not his sentencing, but his verdict. He has been found guilty of 11 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity. This includes mass murder, rape, mutilation, terrorism, all types of really pretty much unspeakable things, and he's going to get what he deserves, and what I find most reprehensible about Taylor is what he's done to the children of Liberia, especially Freetown. That town, he just basically destroyed the name of that town.
What did he do to Sierra Leone?
He murdered 6,000 people. He mutilated hundreds, including children and babies, cut off instantaneously, had his troops cut off their arms and hands or legs or whatever the case may be. These people, this is a diamond area, number one. Now, Taylor was trading arms for diamonds, and, a lot of this stuff went into that, that type of thing.
How did these stars get involved? You've got Mia Farrow, Naomi Campbell. They're all testifying.
I have less than
Kara White.
Naomi was a great model at one time, but she's been pretty much a dipstick the last couple of years anyway. I think maybe Taylor has had some type of relations with some of them, and sending them diamonds as gifts, and some of these women accepted them. They shouldn't do that. I think anybody who buys diamonds nowadays probably should return them to, especially give them to a kid who doesn't have their arms or legs or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's their diamonds.
Charles Taylor is the first African leader to be tried for war crimes at The Hague?
Yes. The first African in the first period since Nuremberg back in 1945. So, they didn't have Hitler back then, who committed suicide just before the Nuremberg trial. So they had the guy who replaced him. I can't remember his name, but he was in power for several months, and he got sentenced and everything. But since then, it was Charles. In between all that, it was nothing but Charles Taylor.
Well, the thing about it, Charles Taylor has some pretty good defense attorneys. I give him that. I don't think they can help him. No. Obviously, they didn't help him.
No, they
He's
didn't.
been found guilty. And the accusation of blood for diamonds, his defense attorneys state that the person that really was behind these atrocities was Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Mm-hmm. Was Gaddafi involved with this?
I don't know if it was direct involvement. There was a time when I guess Taylor, he went to Libya for asylum, whatever. But see, who I'm looking at even harder than that is the Western powers. Belgium, United States, people like that. These are the people who have always been after Africa's resources and have always been behind the tortures of African people.
Isn't that the bottom line, that if you're going to try a person like Charles Taylor, who does not have access to the weaponry, there are no real weapon factories in Liberia. No. So someone had to supply him to commit these atrocities.
Sure.
So, as you said, isn't this not another act of imperialism and neocolonialism?
Without question.
And he's just another user, like similar to the guy that brought down Patrice Lumumba during the day. What was his name?
Joseph Mobutu. Yes.
Mobutu.
You're right.
Mobutu.
That's right.
He was the dictator behind the Foreman Ali fight in Zaire.
Yeah. Mobutu, a very long name. We just know his basic name, Mobutu Sese Seko or whatever, but it's very long.
And he did the same thing.
He did the same type of thing.
But hasn't this always been the story in
always,
Africa? Neocolonialism using others to precipitate
Yeah.
the action of colonialist powers who are going to come in,
Right.
and they're going to take the diamonds.
Yeah. See, the job of the black African placed leader is to make everything, is to destabilize that region. Okay, that region might have something. It's either going to have diamonds or oil or something that the United States wants, or the Western powers, whatever. It's got something they want. They say, okay, destabilize it, get rid of the infrastructure, keep these people in chaos. Then we can just move in and take everything, and that's what they do. You know, obviously they choose these guys very well because they're chaotic, greedy, extremely selfish individuals anyway. So this is how they roll. You know, as the saying goes.
Well, once again, we see, similar to the counterintelligence program of the United States government, those same dirty tricks were first used abroad. Mm-hmm. Is the CIA connected with this at all?
Yeah, there's belief in it. I haven't been able to give a direct correlation, but some of the elements are there. You know, there's circumstantial reason to believe the CIA is involved. Just looking at Charles Taylor's life. Charles Taylor was born in Liberia, Sierra Leone, right around that area. Mm-hmm. But he was educated in Connecticut, especially Bentley College. He has a history of embezzlement. Okay, whenever he's around some large, amounts of money, he's off to the races. Okay. Mm-hmm. One time he got tried and sentenced. His lawyer was Ramsey Clark back then, just before he became U.S. Attorney. Mm-hmm. Okay, high powered. He got sentenced away, and he was in a prison in Connecticut. And him and several other people planned and plotted an escape. There was a getaway car at some point for Charles Taylor. The rest of the people got caught. This is what raised my suspicion. I'm like, well, he goes away. He flies back off to Africa, and he's free to get with this political group. I think it was the RUF or whatever, and they overthrew the previous president, and he becomes president of Liberia at some point. But there is, what enabled him to do all this without getting re-apprehended. I mean, he's a fugitive. He's an escapee. All of a sudden, it's not a priority to go find this guy. Where did you hear about Charles Taylor being on some FBI list or whatever?
Obviously, he probably works for him.
Exactly.
They always, one of the key parts of the CIA and its actions abroad is to always find people like Charles Taylor,
right,
and put them back into those countries, put them into a power position, and they put all the wheels in works for you to destroy yourself.
Sure, and it's consistent. And whenever somebody takes over who has the interest of the people of that African nation in mind, they make sure they get rid of this guy. Just like they did with Mobutu's successor, Laurent Kabila. Mm-hmm. Okay, CIA moves in and says, "Oh no, you got to go." All right,
right.
We need get chaotic black guy in there so we can continue getting these resources. So what Africa has there has to be a universal waking up of African leaders. And I don't always agree with Gaddafi, but he's one of those people of this time that proposed that the African leaders get together and form their own United States of Africa or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's what they're going to have to do. The United States, of course, has always been fearful of that, because who raised that idea? But you mentioned Patrice Lumumba and the other guy who was one of the leaders in Central Africa. Yeah, Nkrumah. Yeah, those two guys, they had the same thoughts. They had the same idea, of course, before the government went after them.
Right, exactly. And the government, it seems that European powers and the United States have come back in and kept Africa destabilized.
Right.
In the same process, they are still raping the African continent of all of its natural resources.
Right.
Africa has more natural resources than any continent known in the world. Yet it is one of the poorest continents in the world, and that is by design.
That's by design.
Well, in closing, Chris, I want to tell everybody, Chris, one of your articles made national news want to congratulate you on that. Tell the people a little bit about that article.
The article is in Black Commentator, and what it deals with is something that's going on in Buffalo, and that's the 13 deaths that we've had at Erie County Holding Center. Most of those deaths occurred between 2006 and right now, presently. As of the last one, I think it was last February or whatever, last winter sometime. But, you know, this is something that people have to know about, you know, and, you know, thank goodness I have the medium of Black Commentator to, you know, as an outlet to let people know about this. And, of course, I've made also corresponding videos of last week on my Policy and Prejudice show of people who deal on the front lines of this, including Sister Karima Armin and Reverend Pierce, people like this. So this is only going to be the first time, this is the first salvo as far as my writing about this, because I want people to understand and recognize that this is going on. This is going on under the regime of Sheriff Howard, and it is something that has to be put to a stop, plain and simple. And I don't know if you mentioned this before in the beginning, but that Charles Taylor's verdict, his sentencing is going to be next Friday. It's going to be
next Friday. He's sentenced.
Yeah, next Friday, on the 1st.
Probably
that's
get
the last I heard.
life in prison in a honeymoon suite.
Probably.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, there's a guy who deserves death. Anybody, if you want to talk about the death penalty, if anybody deserves it, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's very possible he could get a life sentence at a honeymoon suite and be allowed to escape again.
Yeah.
You know, you just never know. Yet and still, they make sure that Mandela does 27 years locked up. So this is picking and choosing of African leaders, and you know, and who the United States or who the Western powers feel is most dangerous, and who they feel are the best assets. You know, just figure out who, and you'll see how they rule accordingly.
Well, that is what we talked about today. I've gone through most of that information, and we're going to see next week what's going to happen with the Charles Taylor sentencing. Where will he end up? Will he end up in a honeymoon suite, or will it be death for war crimes? I don't know.
Hopefully.
I don't trust the whole scenario.
You know, I would prefer they sentence him to a Leavenworth type. You know, I don't know, the rough or Singapore or someplace. You know what I'm saying? Where you know these places are no joke. You know, but you just never know. But maybe he should go to be sentenced to county jail in Buffalo. You know, but yeah, that's that. Yeah. That's that. You know, so he would probably go.
Well, he'd probably escape. Or they let him out. They'll let him out. They'll let you out here.
Yeah, they sure do.
Yeah, they'll let you out.
Strange bunch here running our jails in Buffalo.
All right, that's all for us here on the network. I'm Pat Freeman. This is Chris Stevenson. Give them your blog address before we go, Chris.
That's thebuffalobullet.com. Check it out.
All right, we'll see you next week right here on the network.